Let me be brutally honest with you. You give your heart to people who will never be yours. To people who glance your way, smile, sometimes even come close, but never fully step forward. To people who always stand half a step away, just out of reach. And what do? You stay. You hope again. You burn again. Here's a bitter truth I have to tell you. You are the one choosing to fall for those who are unattainable. You might think it's bad luck, a constant accident, or even some cruel fate. You might tell yourself, I don't know why this keeps happening. It just does. But no, it's no accident. It's a pattern that has repeated over and over and will keep repeating unless you look at it clearly. Ask yourself, why does your heart always go to those who don't want you? Why, when someone comes along who's willing to stay, do you grow cold, bored, or think they're not worth it? Why, when someone offers you love freely and unconditionally, does your mind say, no, this isn't real, it's too easy? Yes, it's a painful paradox. The one who doesn't want you occupies your mind and heart completely, while the one who's ready to stay becomes ordinary and unexciting. Now, let me give you a blunt answer. You choose the unattainable because somewhere in your childhood, love felt exactly like this: incomplete, conditional, full of waiting and uncertainty. Freud said love in adulthood is nothing but the repetition of childhood patterns. If you learned as a child that love always comes with absence, that it's always delayed, always has conditions, then your subconscious believes that real love must feel exactly like that. So when someone loves you sincerely and unconditionally, your mind resists and says, this isn't love, it's too simple, and you go back again to those who keep you waiting, just like in the past. That's how the pattern forms. The unattainable are attractive because they wake your wound, and it's that wound that decides who is valuable to you and who isn't. Look at yourself. Remember the days you spent lost in dreams and illusions. How many times have you stared at your phone, waiting for a message that never came? How many times have you tossed in bed, asking yourself, why am I not enough? Why won't they come back? How many times have you convinced yourself that if you try harder, if you change, they'll finally see you? These aren't just small memories, they're the repetition of your pattern. Every time this happens, your past is relived. Old wounds reopen, and you think you're in love, when in fact you're just reliving an old memory. Jung called this a complex. A complex is a knot in your subconscious that reconstructs the same scenario, again and again. Your love complex is this: you always fall for someone who stands half a step back, someone who is never fully yours. And you stay, you burn, you hope, and the same cursed cycle repeats. Complex is like a magnet. Every time you meet someone new, it's this magnet that decides who you're attracted to. And it's no surprise that this attraction most often belongs to people who can't or won't give you real love. So the question is, do you really need them, or do you need the wound they reopen? If this unattainable person came to you tomorrow and said, I'll stay with you unconditionally, would they still be as attractive to you? Are you truly in love with that person? Or are you in love with the excitement that their absence ignites in you? How many more times will you let yourself be a victim of this repetition? Take a look at your past, at the father who was barely present, or the mother whose love always came with conditions. Those childhood moments when you felt unseen. All of these are hacked into your subconscious. And now, every time you fall in love, you reconstruct those same images. That's the secret of the unattainable. They bring you back to childhood, to the moment you reached out your hand but received nothing, to the time you just wanted someone to say, you are enough, but all you heard was silence or indifference. The truth is, the unattainable are attractive because there's still a child alive inside you. A child who can't accept that no one is coming to heal their wounds. A child who still thinks that if they try harder, one day someone will come and say, I want you. But that day will never come. Not in the way you imagine, and not from the people you're chasing now. If you don't see this, if you don't break this cycle, you'll spend your whole life chasing people who never stay. And when you look back, you'll see nothing but burning, waiting, and repetition. You think you're searching for love, but the truth is you're searching for suffering. Yes, you heard me right. You are addicted to pain. It's a bitter truth, but if you look closely at your life, you'll see its traces everywhere. Every time someone loves you unconditionally, you run away. Every time someone offers you peace, you grow restless. And every time love is easy and within reach, your mind says, "No, this is too simple. This can't be real love." Nietzsche said humans seek suffering more than peace because suffering has meaning. And you're living exactly that. Suffering has meaning for you because peace feels foreign. Let me say it more clearly. If your childhood was full of waiting, deprivation, or conditional love, your brain learned that peace equals threat. Peace to you means worthlessness because deep in your subconscious it's recorded. If you obtain something easily, it must be worthless. That's why the person who's always there for you becomes boring, while the one who doesn't want you or is cold and indifferent becomes a fire that burns you, but you won't let it go out. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Unattainable people aren't just people, they're mirrors. Mirrors that reflect your wound. An old wound that constantly repeats. You are not enough. You must fight to be loved. That's why the unattainable become attractive to you, because it's not them, but the wound inside you that pulls you toward them. Now look at the cycle you've created. You're attracted to someone who doesn't want you. They pull away. You try harder. They come close for a moment, you feel hope. Then they distance themselves again and you burn once more. This is what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. The same thing that keeps gamblers addicted. Not always losing, not always winning. A mix of both. A little attention, a little rejection, and your brain gets addicted to this cycle. This is the worst kind of addiction, because there's no external substance to quit. Your trigger is a person who doesn't want you or can't choose you. Here's another bitter truth you need to hear. You think they're special, but they're not. Their specialness only exists because they touch your wound. If you truly knew and faced your wound, that specialness would vanish like smoke in the air. But because you haven't yet looked at your wound, they become like an idol to you. This is what Jung called projection. Throwing a part of your subconscious onto someone else. Instead of seeing your wound, you project it onto another and call it love. If you were truly looking for peace, why did you push it away when someone guaranteed it? If you were truly looking for love, why did you say, "This isn't it," when unconditional love appeared right in front of you? Are you really in love with that person, or just in love with the feeling that keeps you awake? How long will you keep confusing suffering with love? This story isn't just about your present. Its roots go back to your past, to a childhood where you didn't experience peace, to days spent waiting for a glance, a hug, a loving word that never came, that you never saw or heard. That's why now, every time someone keeps you waiting, something inside you says, "Ah, this is the love I know." And that's exactly the trap. The unattainable drive you crazy because they bring your wound back to life, like someone who unconsciously keeps touching an old wound to make sure it still hurts. You've done the same thing again and again. You've chosen people who wake your old wound just to feel alive. But the question is, how long will you let your wound be the means for you to feel alive? In these unattainable loves, you're not searching for love. You're searching for proof that never arrives. You want to prove that one day you too will be enough. You want someone to come back and say, "I was wrong. You were worthy." But let me be blunt. That day will never come. Not because you're not enough, but because this equation was wrong from the start. No unattainable person will ever heal your wound. This cycle is like a burden you keep carrying on your shoulders, a burden of false hopes, long waits, messages that never arrive, calls that are never made. And every time it repeats, your wound grows deeper. This burden will only be put down when you dare to look at it and say, "This is me choosing this. This is my wound, not my destiny." So, how can you free yourself from the cycle of unattainable love? As long as there's a wound inside you that says, "I'm not enough," you'll always be drawn to people who don't want you. It's a law. You choose the love that matches your inner image. And if that inner image says, I don't deserve easy love. Then easy love becomes a threat, and difficult love becomes attractive. To solve this, the first step is to see the wound. There's no escape. If you want to be free, you must first see your wound. You must accept that what you've called love was often just a replay of your past. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And you've done exactly that. You called it destiny shaping love, when it was only the repetition of your wound. So the first step is to admit it. Admit that you've repeatedly fallen for unavailable people, because a wound inside you believes that easy love isn't for you. The second step is to rewrite the pattern, not with pretty motivational phrases or fake positivity. A pattern only changes when you choose new behavior. That means when someone wants you unconditionally, instead of running, you stay. When someone shows you honest love, instead of saying, "This is too simple," ask yourself, "Why is simplicity scary to me?" Rewriting the pattern means consciously moving against the direction of your wound. It's not easy, it's not quick, but it's the only way. The third step is facing the fear. This is the hardest part. You must face a fear you've always avoided, the fear of accepting real love. Real love means someone wants you exactly as you are, but you haven't accepted yourself as you are for years. So when someone does that, your mind gets scared. Deep down, a voice says, "If they want me as I am, then what about all those years I thought I wasn't enough?" That's where you get stuck. That's why you run. But now it's time, for the first time, to stay. Stay and endure the fear. This is what psychologists call reconsolidation, breaking the old link between love and suffering. But here's another bitter truth I must tell you. No one is coming to save you. Not that unattainable person, not your ideal partner, not even a therapist or your friend. Yes, they can help you, but salvation? No. Salvation only happens when you accept. This wound is my responsibility. When you accept that, a power awakens inside you, a power you've denied for years. So now, do you truly want to heal your wound? Or are you still secretly waiting for one of those unattainable people to come back and validate you? If tomorrow all the unattainable vanished, and only those who want to stay with you remained, how would you feel? Are you ready to let someone love you unconditionally? Or are you still loyal to love filled with suffering? You must accept the past. Maybe you didn't experience unconditional love as a child. Maybe you were always waiting for attention, a hug, or validation that never came. Maybe your old wounds shaped you, but you're not a child anymore. You're waiting for someone to come and heal your wound, but the truth is, the only one who can do that is you. When you accept that, part of your chains will break. Remember, this cycle is a kind of addiction, an addiction to the excitement of waiting, to the ups and downs between hope and despair, to the bitter taste of a suffering that feels like home. And like any addiction, quitting it is painful. The pain of emptiness, the pain of not having a trigger, the pain of not having someone to bring your wound back to life. But that very moment is your moment of freedom, when you no longer need suffering to feel alive. That's when you can experience real love. Look, my friend, real love isn't excitement. Real love isn't chase and escape. Real love is like home, calm, simple, and unconditional. And yes, to a mind that grew for years in suffering, this kind of love may seem boring at first. But if you dare to stay, you'll realize this peace is what you were always searching for. Now I'm asking you to do something, not for me, but for yourself. Go down to the comments and write, "Unconditional love is my right," because this sentence, this simple admission, can be your first step in breaking the cycle you've been trapped in for years. Remember, you're not just watching a video, you're becoming who you were always meant to be. So I'll see you in the next video, my friend.